What's going on, everybody? Leah Henry here on another episode of OK and today's episode we have a really special guest, a good friend of mine. You may have seen him on a plethora of reality TV shows. You might see him all over social media telling you to get up out that bed. But today I have my friend Frank Grimsley. How you doing, boo?
Get up out that bed, get up out that bed, get up out that bed. What's going on, girl?
Come on, you've been telling us to get up out that bed for like a year now, baby. I'm still in it. But I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Listen, slow progress.
So I'm really excited to have you on the show today because I wanted to talk about my experience as a plus size person in the media industry. And I feel like we hear women speak about that struggle so much, but I knew that you would be a great person to have to kind of shed light on that experience as a man. Now, we all know you from Netflix, okay? The winner of The Circle and a plethora of other reality shows and TV contributing. But talk to me about your journey in media. Obviously, when you do reality TV, it's a little bit different than, maybe trying to be a radio personality like me. But talk about some of the things that you've experienced in your journey as a plus size person in media.
Oh wow, do we have that much time? I think it definitely parallels being plus size woman and a woman and a man. I think my struggles in media were immediate before I was even starting to do what I do. I was the type of person, I always felt like I was going to be somebody when I moved up to the DMV area. I moved here from a small town in Alabama, and I was like, I'm going to be something here. I don't know what it is, but I immediately changed my name. I wanted to be like super marketable. I wanted to separate my personal life from my school life because I was a grad student at Howard, and everybody thought I was crazy. And so I kept trying to like navigate into the space, and I didn't even know how that looked, but I ended up navigating into what I'm doing now by way of the plus size community because I think they had been so ostracized from like media, entertainment, especially when you think of like fashion and modeling, which was the thing I thought was going to be my ticket. So I used to model in shows and things like that. But I think looking back then and looking at where I am today, while I am in a different position, the circumstances are still the same. While I have navigated the trials and tribulations of being ostracized outside of my plus size community, I've also been ostracized inside of it. Because I'm gay and I'm black and I'm gay and I'm also plus size. So I always tell people I've had men that are my size that are straight, like not pay me any mind, look over me, do like it's been a lot to be done that way in your own community. And it's the same way outside of it. And I think that's why I kind of I woke up one day, I said, well, if I feel like I'm being mistreated inside of my plus size community, why don't I just broaden it up and just put myself into every room I could put myself in if the people that I felt would accept me. And granted, a lot of people did, but I did still have my negative experiences in that. And I think looking back on it now, not much has changed, to be honest. And it's sad. I get a lot of questions now like, do you have management? No. Everything you see is run by me, done by me. Every event you see me at, I'm scheduling it. It's all me. And I look at some of my peers that do exactly what I do, that have navigated through several different management companies and are presented with all of these opportunities to do exactly what it is that I do. But I've had several meetings with management and I always get we don't quite know. Have you tried to do what they do? Have you tried to, try to change up your content? And I know who I am, but it's still the same. And I know that as a plus size gay man, it is hard to figure out what you can do with me. And no matter how you go, I think I thought by now it will be like, oh, like I've done enough work that speaks for itself where it's like, oh, whatever. But now, no,
Yeah.
it's the same as when I first put my boots on the ground. So it's challenging,
Mhm.
but I love to do it and keep doing it and doing it well because I know that I'm the representation to someone. And
Mhm.
that's why I'm going. So yeah, it's been a lot. I think I answered that question. I hope I did.
No, you did absolutely. And something you said when you were answering was a lot of management doesn't know what to do with me. I follow Shamira, who is a huge plus size advocate and influencer in the industry, and she talks about how she took so many meetings with management and they could not figure out what kind of box to put her in. Which, for me, I'm just kind of like, well, what box do you put a skinny bitch in? Shit, like what? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What? How difficult is it to find a place for us? But that just shows me how much work there really is to do in this conversation called body positivity. One of the things that kind of happened to me when I was in Columbus is, I left DC. I had a thriving career in DC. And when I came to Columbus, I kind of thought, oh, I'm going to be able to do the same thing that I did in DC, but do it here in Columbus. And that didn't necessarily always translate. And I found myself looking around and looking at the people who were getting said opportunities here in this market, and looking at the opportunities that I thought by default that I would probably get just because, okay, I've been in DC, I've been in this large city, I've been doing these things, and I still found myself sometimes feeling like, is it because of me? Because to your point earlier, there are nuances, and I think nuances are important because your experience as a plus size person is different than a plus size gay person's experience versus a plus size Black woman experience. Because I try to explain to people it's different being plus size and white and different being plus size and Black. And people don't understand that nuances really, really do matter when we talk about this conversation. That's kind of why I started to create Plus Paradise. I think people probably thought, like, where the hell is this girl coming from? People know I like to travel. But for me, I just felt like, dang, there's never an authentic space for real. There's not many, because there are some people who have been doing this. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm the first or I'm innovative, but I didn't feel like there was groups that I connected with that felt safe. And I thought that was an interesting point you made about not necessarily always feeling loved within the plus size community, because it is different. Those nuances are very different,
They really are. It really is. And, I look still. One of the biggest examples of a Black plus size woman or anybody plus size in the entertainment space that I ever saw was Amber Riley on Glee. And,
Mm.
I was always, when I met her, I literally started to cry because I'm like, I remember looking on TV and being like, oh my God, she looks like me. Like, I was like, okay, in my head, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be inside the TV. Like, I would ask my mom, like, how do I get inside like, how do I do that? And I
Right.
would never see anybody that looked like me. So
Mm-hmm.
just the fact that that was the only example I saw positively, because we had things like the Nutty Professor, we had Rasputia,
Respucia.
we've had listen, all these negative and I listen. I think it further I think it further perpetuates the stereotype that we are not desirable. And it helps
Mm-hmm.
people not look at us in a positive way. Like Nutty Professor, all those things, like they were funny, but at the core of it, I look back on like that type of content and I'm just like, granted it was funny, but was it intentionally placed to further perpetuate the stereotype that fat people are not desirable? We are sloppy, we poo, you know what I'm saying? Like all this stuff, not the balloons. But listen, it be a lot going on. And you know, I still look in the if you look in the media today, you don't see that many of us at all. Like if you
Yeah.
really think about like somebody being a lot of like Black size plus people in
Mm-hmm.
entertainment, not you maybe can count them on maybe one hand.
One hand.
Yeah.
One hand. No, and you're absolutely right. So one of the people that always inspired me was Queen Latifah. And Queen Latifah was so, like, the way you said you would cry when you met Amber Riley is the way that I would boo-hoo and snot up if I met Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah is so inspiring to me for several reasons. But first of all, Queen Latifah was never really like a large woman. Like when I think of like what we deem plus size to be, that could be a whole different rabbit hole to go down. But people used to act like she was ginormous back in the 90s, and she really
I
wasn't.
was like, girl, she's not that damn big.
But, you know, to Hollywood at the time, she was a larger woman. But one of the things that Queen Latifah did for me as a child was when I was younger, I literally had somebody tell me this. It's not one of those figurative things where it's like society says. I had somebody tell me, and a close relative tell me, if you want to be in a relationship, if you want boys to like you, if you want to even be desirable in any sense, you have to lose weight. And it hurt my feelings so bad because of the way they did it. They tried to kind of compare me to a family member. They were like, you see how so-and-so got a boyfriend? You don't want a boyfriend? And I was like, yeah, I want a boyfriend. And they were like, well, you got to lose the weight. There's no way that you could ever be something to somebody. There's no way you could even be partially attractive to anybody the way that you look. And granted, they didn't say it that way, but that's what you meant by saying it that way. You know what I mean? And so Queen Latifah really, really created, and that's why when people say like representation matters, it really does, because in those movies where she was being loved by Common, where she was being, you know, LL Cool J's love interest, these very attractive men that everybody in society thought was fine, her always being desired by those men told me, Leah, you do not have to settle, because there were so many people around me telling me I was either going to have to settle or I would get nothing if I didn't lose weight. If I looked the way that I looked, I deserved nothing or the best I could get. And Queen Latifah's roles really inspired me to be like, hell no, I will not lower my standard in men. I will always like an attractive man. I don't give a damn if all the attractive men don't like me. That was so instrumental in my confidence in myself, because it took me a long time to really love myself. I think when you're a fat kid and you grow up and you're funny, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Frank, because of your personality, you know, it's very much a defense mechanism. You learn to be funny, one, because people are laughing at you. So you got to find something to be, you got to even remotely stay happy. You got to find something to enjoy and laugh about. And then you got to be funny to kind of counter the energy that you're met with. I think a lot of funny, quote unquote, fat people are funny because maybe it was either get John on or do the Johnin. You know what I'm saying? So it creates this defense mechanism. And while I love my personality, I wonder what it would be like if I didn't always feel the need to have defended myself and kind of go tit for tat with people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I really understand. I think I understand that so much because I think even as of lately, I will always be like, damn, like, why are you so funny? And I just would be like, I think it was my counterpunch. Like, I tell people all the time, you may not love how I look, but you will love my personality. I think that I know that I'm one of one. You will never ever come across another Frank. And I think that I had to build that because I didn't feel at the time, and I don't even think my experience, honestly, I grew up with my mom was plus size. And to her, I remember looking at her and she never ever was that plus size woman that did not know she was the baddest bitch walking. And I really like, she knew that too. In her chest, she exuded that. She did not care about like the other skinny bitches, as she would call them. Like, she positioned herself. She always looked nice. She loved to shop. She loved to dress up. So I didn't, in my head growing up, the only place that I felt that my size was a factor was when I would go to school. But she would constantly remind me, like, people are going to call you fat. You got to know who you are and be okay with who you are and how you present. And if one day you decide that you want to change that, cool. But you still, your shoes cleaner than theirs, your outfit more put together than theirs. Like, she would let me know and constantly remind me to like never be that person that is going to school and like people are bullying you. Like, no, speak up for yourself. If they call you fat, find something on them to talk about. Like, don't let nobody back you in the corner. And I do think that that shaped my experience up until a certain point. But then I felt like when I got, you get to like high school, college, I'm like, okay, like I want to start like dating. Like, how am I gonna set myself apart? So I think, I used to wear like bold outfits and just try to like I would try to set myself so far apart from everybody else that I didn't even really know who I was. And I would overcompensate with the comedy and the personality because I didn't feel like on my own, like by myself, oh, you can't have a dry personality and be fat. Like, you really gotta round everything else out to like make the fat part be like, oh, okay, well, like that's okay. Like, you're fat, but I love all these other things about you, so I'm okay with that. And now I'm just like, I don't gotta do all that. I do not have to do all that. And I think it took me a very, very long time to realize that these people and how they feel about fat people has so much little to do with the fat people. It is really what they have going on within themselves, because for the life of me, do not give a damn what size anybody else is, how they look. I think that I think that I outdress so many people that have access to clothing. And I'm just like, you can't think that your opinion about me is going to make me feel bad about me when I outstomp you in everything that I'm doing. The only thing that is different between yourself and I is that I have 100 pounds, 120, 50 pounds on you. Okay. It still moves. The numbers still come. The men still are calling. It don't stop nothing. And I think once I realized that my size does not, it may hinder me, but it's not going to stop me from a lot. So yeah, it was definitely an experience though, growing up and realizing like, I think we often have to, I think we had to do a lot of like soul searching and growing up faster than our counterparts, because at a young age, we were taught and conditioned that our body was not okay. And at a young age, we had to become okay with that. Like, we had to become okay with not being the status quo. And it is a lot, child.
100%. I feel like, as far as, when it comes to being plus size, there's so many elements from childhood to adulthood where we're trying to navigate, like, what is what I believe about myself and what is like something that my inner child is struggling with. And that's something that I'm still trying to balance, like, till this day. Because I'm gonna be real with you, like, there was a defining moment for me that like made me realize that Plus Paradise was so important. So
Mm,
a few years ago, I went to the Dominican Republic, and if you follow me, you know that I am like, let's go on an excursion, let's do something crazy. Because one of the reasons I'm like that is because I told myself, no matter how big I am, I will always push myself outside of my comfort zone, because I just know so many people who are bigger and don't live their lives because of the fact that they are so scared of what others will think, but also just scared to really live. I think the constraints of society makes it hard sometimes for us to want to advocate for ourselves or do things for ourselves. So when I go on vacations and stuff, I really try to push myself outside of my comfort zone. I try to do the zip line. I try to go on the roller coaster. I try to jump off this brick. You know what I mean? I try to do those things just
mm,
to ensure that, like, I'm never putting myself in a box that society is putting myself in. So when I went to the Dominican Republic a few years ago, my sister and I found this like waterfall excursion, and I had told my sister that, let's go do this thing. So we go, and obviously I don't really not the fact that it's a natural water slide. So obviously, Leah, you're gonna have to climb some mountains to go down a slide, right? But it didn't click when I booked the excursion.
It
So,
did click.
oh, baby, it didn't. The only thing that clicked was my knees up that entire fucking hill. Okay, that was the only thing clicking that day. Okay,
Oh
so
man.
they're like, it's a bit of a hike. It's a bit of a hike, and then also, as you hike, you're getting elevated, so it gets harder to breathe. And I remember we started walking up this mountain. I knew it was gonna be hard, but I was like, okay, Leah, you got this. So I started in the front, and then about 5 minutes, I was in that back. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking. I'm starting to feel it, but I'm like, you know what, Leah, we're gonna do this. So as I'm walking, I start to realize that there is this young white girl, and she's with a group of friends, and she is the only plus size person in this group, right? And so, we're starting to walk, and I mean, as we're climbing, it's getting harder. I mean, it's probably like a 2 mile hike, and we're probably about 0.75 miles into it. Like we're, we a good way, but we still got some time to go. And so, I can see her. She's starting to get red. She's starting to breathe. And I told my sister at a certain point, leave me, girl. If you can get to the top of that thing, just leave me. I don't need you to stay back and be a cheerleader. That shit irritate me. I ain't gonna lie. So I told her, leave me. But obviously, as I get farther to the back, I'm with the tour guide that's in the back, and this girl, is starting to. She's climbing, but I could tell it's starting to get to her. So her friends, bless their hearts, because they're trying their best to encourage the girl. Come on, Stacey, you got it, girl. And that instantly took me back to the fucking gym days where you had to run the fucking mile and everybody's waiting at the end for you to clap it up for you.
Oh, girl.
I was triggered, Frank. I was triggered.
Oh,
okay,
you just triggered me.
Okay, because while people think they are trying to help you, they are making it fucking worse. Okay. So, come on, Leah, you can do it. While everybody's like drinking water at the end, child. That's what I felt. And I seen that in her. Like I could tell she was uncomfortable. So I said to the girls, I said, hey, ladies, you know what? I'm real tired. Like I made it about me. I'm real tired. So let me stay back with friend. I'll make sure she makes it to the top. Y'all go ahead. We will meet y'all at the top. They were like, okay. And I mean, within 3 minutes, these girls are out of our damn sight. You know what I mean? They're up the hill, right? And as soon as they got to a point where we could no longer see them and they could no longer see us, she broke down and she cried.
Mm.
And it made me feel so bad for her, because I know what that experience is like. And, I thought so many things went through my mind in that moment, because I thought to myself, there was probably some girl who suggested this, not thinking about whether her friend could do it, if she could do it. They probably thought it was just a harmless excursion that everybody could be a part of and would be fun to take pictures and see. And then I thought about how embarrassed she felt the whole time to wait until her friends got out of eyesight to break down. And I mean, she could barely breathe. So I know she was using every inch of muscle she had to try to pretend like she could fucking breathe.
Yeah.
Because by the time they walked out, she was gasping for air. And I said to myself, there has to be a space where people never feel like this. There has to be something that I can make that can make people never be in this type of experience again. That was the moment Plus Paradise came to mind, because I realized that even in situations where people have the best intentions, they don't always have you in mind as a plus size person.
Yeah.
And that was when I realized I had to make something where we were the thought, because I have been on excursions where I have gone with friends and it creates such an awkward situation because people really don't think about stuff like that. We went to Mexico and it was a ATV and zip lining and something else. And I planned to do everything, but I couldn't fit in the harness to go zip lining, and they wouldn't give me my money back. Like we prepaid for it, but I was like, "Hey, can I get my money back? Because I can't fit the harness." And they were like, "No." And so my friend, who is average size, kind of was thrown off because it was clear she wanted to do it, but it was clear she didn't want to look like a bad friend by saying, "Well, girl, I'm just going without you." So I said, "Girl, just go." But I have too been in spaces traveling with people who have the best intentions, who love you, who want to do something for you, but they don't think about how things may affect you. And so Plus Paradise was created from that space because I realized like we don't got a lot, Frank. It ain't a lot for us, for real.
It's not. It's not.
It's not a lot of judgment-free spaces. It's not a lot of spaces where people even consider you. You know, there was this conversation on social media a few years ago, and me and my friend kind of got into it about it, but it was talking about how like when women go out and men will ignore women that are plus size but will engage with their other friends. And I'm sure as a gay man, you still deal with men. I'm sure you've had experiences where you've been out with a group of smaller people and you just kind of standing there. And people don't even think. I think it's so inherently fat phobic that people fail to realize like they're not even like assessing you as a human being standing there. There's been times I've been in the club and a man would damn near run me over to talk to a friend, and I'm standing there like, oh, I guess I don't fucking exist.
Listen, no, I've had people attempt. But I don't play like that. But I also like I'm fortunate enough to where honestly I am the biggest in my friend group. But I don't have friends that make me feel like I'm the biggest in my friend group, and they don't care about other people and how they treat me. So yeah, I've had to tell somebody, hey, excuse me, you just stepped on my foot, like, or I've had my friends be like, hey, don't do that, like, you know, you got to acknowledge all of us, like, no, you're not gonna buy just me a drink. Like, I got the type of friends like, oh, well, you're not just buying me a drink, you got to buy all my friends a drink. I don't care, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like it took a lot for like my friends to be considerate. I've had a best friend who is like, he could probably get inside of my body. I've always been the big friend, and he's always been the little friend. And when I first moved up here, I remember going out to like the gay club because I moved up here. I was, you know, green. I'm going out. I'm like, I remember going out and like at the end of every night, like he would always be talking to all these guys. And I would be like, oh, okay, like I'm new on the scene. Like people ain't gonna start talking to me yet, but like I'm gonna just keep going out. And eventually people gonna start talking to me because I know I'm cute. Like I'm cute. I'm cuter than half the bitches in this club. So that's my I remember I would go to the club and I would just be I would leave the club so sad so many nights. And one night I was on the phone with my friend. We were talking about something that had happened in the club. And we were driving two separate cars and I literally broke down. And I was just like, I don't think you'll ever understand what it's like going to the club with you. And my friend is gorgeous. He's very desirable. I said, I don't think you'll ever understand what it's like going to the club with you every single weekend. And everybody's looking at you and nobody's looking at me. And the guys that I be like, oh, he's cute. And only to find out that the cute guy is only talking to me because he wants to talk to you.
Talk to your friend.
He was like, wow, I never really, you know, even understood that as an experience. And so I think it takes those experiences to let the people know in our lives, like, hey, this is what it's like for us. And I mean, the tides have shifted now. And I think honestly, the tides have shifted for me in that space as of last year. Because I finally realized who the fuck I am.
Come on.
In a way of, I know who I am, even outside of the accolades. But I know, like my dad passed away when I was 5. My mom passed away when I was 14. And so just to be able to live the life that I have lived and cultivated for myself, by myself, I had to grow up when my mom, who's a plus size person, passed away. I had to figure out, that was the day I said, okay, I have to figure out the rest of my life. At that moment, I realized I'm gonna spend more time on this earth without my parents than with them. At some point, I'm gonna be like, oh, I've been living on this earth longer than I've been. They've been gone for a long time, and I had to grow myself up. And I think to be able to do what I've done, to be able to have experienced some of the things I've experienced in this life, and to be able to deal with all the hardship that I've dealt with, and to know who I am to a lot of people in this world, I started to tell myself, how dare you not put out all of that? Like, how dare you not think? How dare you not think you're good enough? I tell myself now, when I go into spaces, even if I don't leave and anybody talks to me, you all should be honored to breathe the breath that you all should be honored to be in my space. You should be honored that you're in arm's length of me. And that's not because I'm better than anybody. It's just because I know I'm the shit. Like Cash Doll said, like, I'm very much aware. I'm not saying you're not the shit, because you are, and you should think you the shit too. But I definitely do not think that. I'm very well aware. And if you, as a person, as a Black gay man, as a whoever person, cannot or do not desire to hold space with me, date me, talk to me, ask me for my number, that is your loss. Because I know what I bring to people. And regardless of if I'm 350 pounds today or 250 pounds tomorrow, I know who I am right now, and I'm very sure of that. And I don't know. It's like, I tell you, Leah, I'm not even playing. When I tell you, when I change my mindset, my circumstances have changed. And this is not to like to my own horn, but bitch, I don't go in the club without somebody coming up buzzing my ear. But I think it's also like, I'm not going into the club looking and waiting for that. Like, to the club, I'm not like, well, shit, you cute, what's up? Like, I'm not. When I tell you what, I told my friend this last week. I said, you know what? I'm so glad that at 31 years old, I finally feel like there ain't a motherfucker in this club that if I want him, I can't have him. Am I gonna get them all? Hell no. Everybody ain't gonna. The rest of them don't get them all. But I do think, bitch, if I want him, I can get him. And I really feel like that has really shifted a lot for me, because
your perspective.
Living life, I was living life by other people's rules and allowing their standards to dictate how I moved and how I operated and how I saw myself. And I'm just like, God, if you allow me to see myself in the way that you see me, let that shine with when I go outside. So when I leave my home, I want to show up as how you see me. And I think because I think that way, it's just like, the niggas been on my body. Yeah. Girl, it's gonna be a long summer.
Okay, listen, I went out with you during homecoming, honey, and y'all be having the time. So you ain't lying about it. I might fly back to DC just to get a little taste again. We had a time, honey.
And it was a random time. That was not even planned.
Because how did I end up in the gay club at homecoming? Real questions.
Listen, how did we end up with a whole double section? But I walked in the club. That's the type of shit I be talking about. It be me and my friends, and we just like to have fun. It's just like, how can you not love us? We looked at each other. We was like, man, the club gonna get thick. We might as well get these little sections. And I was like, you know what? It's summertime. Fuck it. Let's do it. Oh, I was like, no. I was like, homecoming. I was like, let's go on out with a bang, because usually homecoming the last time we be outside. So I'm like, let's go on and do it. And we do it. And fun. Life is short. We gotta have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and the time was had. It was hilarious because my gay friend is how we ended up getting in that club. But I with my homegirls. He went somewhere to try to talk to the Lord knows who. But it was fun because I saw you. We had a good time. One thing you said in your last answer that I wanted to get more clarity on. You talked about there was a defining moment for you, and I think when you truly gain confidence, whether you're plus size or not, there is a defining moment, or there is a series of situations, or there is an epiphany where things change for you. For me, I think for a long time, I was living in very fake skin. I think for a long time, I believed that I thought I was confident, and I believed that I thought that I loved myself, but I realized that I really didn't. And I
Mm-hmm.
think once I learned that I didn't, it was time for improvement. And one of the reasons why I want to be a talk show host, funny enough, people try to drag Tyra Banks from her hairline to the flow about America's Next Top Model and the things if that was ethically correct. Listen, I can't speak to that. But what I will say is that talk show changed my life, because Tyra Banks, because she was in the beauty industry, because she was constantly trying to press the norms of what the beauty industry upheld at that time, a lot of her episodes were about self-love and loving your body. A lot of Tyra Banks episodes, especially as her show progressed, was about her being her gaining weight. Obviously, she was a model in the 90s where being a size 0 was the standard, and she was that. But as she got older, she got thicker. And there was a lot of conversation and controversy about her gaining weight. There were some pictures that weren't edited that showed her with cellulite. And I remember her having episodes, but there was one episode particularly that always sticks out to me. She had a episode where she put on a fat suit, and she went around New York City, took the metro, and she talked about how dehumanizing the experience was, the fat person for a day. And I thought to myself, watching that, okay, there's somebody out here who's seeing my experience for the first time. And it crushed me to realize that, like, people don't like fat people. People
Mm.
don't care about fat people. And people don't honor us in the same way that they would honor other people, whether they'd like to admit it or if it's a self-conscious thing just because of the way that society has been built. And so that show and her working through loving her own body and the way that she had to accept herself, really, I would watch 2 episodes a day. And some episodes wouldn't be about that, but 2 episodes a day. And by the time her show was canceled, I really started to love myself watching that show and learning and hearing the psychologists, the people, and feeling like there was somebody who could identify with what I was going through. And
Mm-hmm.
so, Tyra Banks made me want to be a talk show host, because I said, if she can take me from somebody who used to think about possibly killing myself to being somebody who loves myself, that's impact.
Mm-hmm.
That's impact. And that was the defining moment for me. So you said last year you had an epiphany, but was there a point in your life where you said, this is my defining moment of where I will not be held by societal standards or people around me or what people think?
Defining moment. I feel like I've had so many. But I too, like you, I think for a long time I was Mr. Body Positivity coming to the stage near you. And everybody thought I was just like so confident. And I was just like, I'm not. Like I was fat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I still am fat. I was the fat boy. I had a chronic skin condition that was, impacting my body. Because of I just was like, okay, it's a lot going on, but I can fake it. Because I said fake it until you make it. And I didn't realize like how long I had been faking it. I think honestly, if I'm being very honest and transparent with you, I think I moved into this apartment, and for the first 8 months, I realized I had been faking my entire life.
Hold on. Ooh, let's get into that. What
Yeah.
made you what made you be like, this shit is fake? What was the moment where you were like, oh, I'm playing a game here?
I think it was because I moved into this apartment, and to everybody on the outside, I had it all. I had moved to this apartment. I had gotten a deal with this apartment, but people didn't know that I was literally like fighting for my life. I had left my job and tried to I was pursuing full-time entrepreneurship. I had just started doing that. And then I moved into this. I went through the most traumatic. It was like I hit the top, and soon as I left my job, it was like, okay, like somebody let the air out of my balloon. And so I told myself, I was like, okay, well, quitting my job is going to be fine. Like, I just want this money on the circle. I have money in my savings account. If it's any time to do it, it's now. Like, let's go. You got to do it. You got to do it now. And the deal stopped coming. Like, I was not getting any work. I was doing like a few and I will always be a lover of Giant, and I will work with them until I'm blue in the face, because I remember the days that I had no money, and then they would be like, "Oh, can you do a campaign?" And I'd be like, "Okay." Got me a little money. But it was like at the time when I moved over here, every single time I got paid, I was basically waiting. I remember waiting on the check, like, okay, net 30 days. Okay, I'm gonna rob Peter to pay Paul. And then by the time I paid, and I started to realize, I was like, damn, all this shit is really causing me to like center on just me. Like, not what I've done, not what I've accomplished, not because I had done great things. I had went on a circle, I had went on How to Get Rich. I think I had started doing five a few times. I mean, you would think that I was just doing it. And I would come over here and I would just be like, bitch, you're barely. I would literally come over here and be like, God, like, why did you tell me to quit my job if it was going to be like this? And I remember feeling like I had been stripped of everything. And I think because I had been stripped of everything, I wasn't worried about being like the confident fat boy or the funny fat boy. I wanted to work on being the best, my better version of myself. And that had nothing to do with my life. That had nothing to do with me being funny or me being successful. I said, God, help me to get to a place where I am my best self, and whatever that looks like, I want to do that. And I think coming out of that, I started to look back and I was just like, wow, like you allowed that man in your life for way too long without setting boundaries, because you didn't think you were good enough. You didn't think that another person deem you desirable. You thought that you had to do anything to keep him when he didn't want to be with you when you got with him, but you wanted to keep him around because you thought you could win him over with your personality. And it's like, no, if you cannot get it right on the front end, you got to get the hell out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when I think about like complete mindset shift, I say that it happened within the last few years, because now because I was stripped of everything and I had to focus on my relationship with God. He is my provider. He's my friend. And I just feel like I've been by myself and I've dug myself out of some heavy shit time and time again. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm fat, but whatever. Like, y'all don't know the battles that I fought to even show up in the space, to show up on social media, that show up on the days that I didn't want to. So I think that was like a huge, me moving into this apartment was just a really huge defining moment, because I think I've lived up here for so long and I had roommates. And I think God put me all the way out here where I live by myself. It's not my friends do not stay in Virginia. And I think he was like, I want you to center on you for the first time since you've lived in this area, and ask yourself, what type of person do you want to be after? Because I knew he was going to bring me out of it. Because I would apply for jobs. Leah, I would apply for jobs that I was overqualified for. I put in a job application to work at Verizon. I have not worked at Verizon since I was in undergrad. And do you know Verizon? And I have a whole master's degree. I think I applied for like a store manager position with all my experience. And I have worked at several phone stores. Baby, I applied for about 25 jobs and nobody would call me back. And it was at that moment, I was sitting on my couch one night and I was just like, okay. I forgot who I think I was Slayer Gang Taylor on Instagram. She had a video one time talked about where her back was completely against the wall and she didn't know what to do, and all she knew to do was surrender. And I told myself, I said, I'm not putting in. I said, God, whatever you have for me, you have it. I can't change what's happening. I'm not putting in another job application because you clearly don't want that for me. And I started to really center on everything he had promised me. He's promised me greatness. Why would I not get it? He's promised me abundance. Why would I not get it? And I feel like because he's promised me that, it will be a huge disservice to him for me to show up in the earth not feeling like I'm that bitch. Like I'm that bitch in every space I walk into because he's put that inside of me. And I don't let men change that. I don't let circumstances change that. And when I leave this house every day, I feel like I'm the best version of myself right now, and I'm still getting better. And I think it feels good now because I think what confidence I used to have, there would be things about it. There were holes in the foundation, and I feel like I was confident, but people could do things to me, and that would strip me of my confidence. Now there's nothing. Now because I've had to surrender. I've become a new person. I feel like there's nothing anybody can do to like take my confidence from me, make me unsure of myself, make me doubt myself because I know what I've went through in this apartment. And yeah, it's nothing that I will never let anybody tell me that there's nothing I can't do, because when God took everything from me, I made it all back.
And come on, somebody.
And I did it on my own. You know, not on my own. He is the sole provider, but I've seen him take everything from me, but I've also seen him give it back in multitude. Yeah. And so I'm like, if that's what happens when you fully surrender, I'm surrendering everything. My love life, surrender. How I feel about myself, surrender. My confidence, surrender. Like I'm giving it all to you. And if you're giving me what I need to survive in this earth, I can do anything because I have the same power that you have. So why would I not think of myself up here when I know that you think of me up here? So when I go out into the earth, it ain't, baby, you can't tell me shit because I think of myself up here. And I don't let there's nothing that anybody can do to make me come down off of that. And I love it here. It's so fun because I just really don't.
Listen, and that's when you really know, like, okay, I've made it to a space where I'm really comfortable in my own skin. I wanted to talk about something you said. You said you're trying to improve yourself, and I think one of the most beautiful things as your friend to watch is your fitness journey. One of the things I've realized as a plus size person is when you see other plus size people getting a gym bag, get their life together, slim down, or just do it for their health, it's a lot more inspiring than watching some skinny girl tell you calorie deficit, who clearly ain't ever been big in their life, clearly ain't had a bad knees, bad back, bad ankles, whatever, bad hips, your hips tight. It's a very different experience. And I want to talk to you as we are starting to see a shift in the media with positivity, where there was once stores that offered, sizes that went all the way up to a 4X. And I kind of call it the Lizzo effect. I feel like when Lizzo was on the scene, she was big, she was loud, she was out there. People saw the need for the body positivity and the inclusivity. Now Lizzo has lost weight. I think that we're kind of seeing a turn in the tides in general, as we see GL1P medicine like Ozempic and Wegovy starting to get prominence in media and in society. We're starting to see that I feel like people think the need for body positivity has gone away. And so I want to talk to you about the nuance of that, because obviously you're still a plus size man, but obviously you have prioritized your health so much to the point that Peloton saw you and you got to deal with Peloton. So talk to me about that nuance. Talk to me about what made you decide to kind of get in your fitness bag as a plus size person. And then talk to me about, kind of those what's at play here, because we are seeing a decline of body positivity or inclusivity in brands, but also the fact that health is important, but also it doesn't negate from the fact that your body is your body. So talk to me about the kind of culmination of all those things for you.
Yeah, I think it's really, contrary to popular belief, and I can tell when people first following me on Instagram, because I'll work out. And you know me, I'm always going to complain. I've complained about working out from day one. I don't care. I'm going to always complain about it because I don't care what people say. It has its moments, but it's not fun. And people that try to make it seem like it's fun, you're lying. Do you have great workouts? Yes. Is it fun? Not always. But I think what is the funniest thing about it, I've been working out for a long time and posting it on social media. Like when I say a long time, like I mean I graduated college, undergrad in 2016, and I remember I wanted to lose weight. I knew I was going to graduate, and I was like, I want to lose weight, and I got down to like 298. I had a trainer. I would post my workouts on Facebook. And it was always really motivational and inspiring. I was like, So I moved up here, and it kind of slacked off because I'm in a different place and I don't have access. And I think when I started going back, when I found it was after the pandemic where I really was like, okay, you really gotta like figure this out. Like I would work out here and there, but I wasn't consistent. And I think about how there is nobody. I think it's crazy that fat people that go to the gym have to be on a weight loss journey. And I just had to have a very important corrective conversation with Peloton. Actually, they wanted me to, and this is why representation is important. Because when you tell me in the content brief, talk about how Peloton has aided in your weight loss journey, I have to come back and say, I don't like using those words, weight loss journey. I think that there says something so much, again, about how people view fat people, because just because I'm working out, I have to be on a weight loss journey versus if Stephen is going to the gym and he's 165 pounds, he's just going to the gym. Why can't I just be going to the gym? Why can't I want to make sure I have stronger legs? I want to make sure that
or maintain.
How you know how you know I don't like my size and I'm trying to maintain that. And I think that's why what I do is important. And I think even in my verbiage, I never get on. You will never. Now the only deal I'm gonna take that's close, I will take a Weight Watchers deal, and I will take a Weight Watchers.
Hey Oprah.
Because I know the coins are there, but I also think like I've seen other people take the deals, and I'm like, why do we always have to be? I think that they spin it the wrong way. I feel like Weight Watchers has great. It had to look like the food be good, and it looked like it was quick and that is efficient. But I think it's important for people like me to be in the space because I do work out and I can work out hard and I can work out. The funniest thing to me is my skinny friends that I be out with, I can outwork them in any gym we ever step foot in. Like I can work out with the best of the best, which I think says a lot about me, because I have not lost a significant amount of weight. Does my body fluctuate? Yes. Does everybody's body fluctuate? Yes. Do I have my seasons? Yes. I'm about to go into a critical shred, because by the time like July, September come, like I want to be looking a certain way. And I know that I slack off. I really live to show people like, hey, balance, but also I'm not in prison. I'm not in prison to the idea that I need to lose weight to do this. Honestly, the number one reason, and I will be very transparent and honest with you, I don't think I will work out as hard as I do. For two reasons. Well, really three reasons. When I turned 30, I started to think about like my uncles. A lot of my uncles have passed away. My mom passed away at a younger age, and I was like, I never saw any of them move their body. And I remember Kelly Rowland talking about. She was like, my biggest gift and what I'm grateful for is every day I wake up and I can move my body. I don't have to use a cane. I don't have to use a walker. Like I'm able to move my body. And I was just like, damn, that really is a gift to like wake up, be able to move your limbs at your own free will. Sometimes do the days look different? Yes. However, I was like, wow, that's like a giving gratitude for your body at whatever state it's in. But also I started to think, I was like, I want to be around for as long as I can. So I'm like, I feel like I can double my life if I just move it. Not to necessarily lose a whole weight, but how much healthier can I be if I just move my body? Like, let me just move my body and show people that it is okay to move your body as a 300-pound man and not necessarily lose a bunch of weight. Like, I'm not ever, listen, I feel like I have one of the most amazing asses in the DMV. I'm not trying to lose that by any shake of the imagination. So I'm not even going to my goal is to never even get too much smaller. I always tell every trainer that I sit down to work with, I want my stomach to be smaller, my chest to sit up a little more. So when the summer, when my tank tops is on, the girls are sitting right. And I just want to, my back to come in a little more. But
a
I don't.
little sense,
Like,
just a little
just
bit.
a little bit. Like, I'm not trying to be, I don't desire to be small. Like, I never have desired. I had someone tell me, they was like, yeah, I'm sure you've like thought about weight loss surgery. And I'm like, actually, I never have. Like, I never have thought about that. I always told myself, like, and it's no knock to anybody that has done it. Do what you need to do for you and your health for you. But I think for me, it's like, I never thought about that because I grew up seeing a plus size woman loving herself that was unapologetic. So I had that example. I've had brands reach out to me about those shots. I've had people reach out to me asking if I want to do those surgeries. Could I have been done it for free? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want to. I don't want to continue perpetuating the stereotype that I feel like I would be another person that lost weight and people, it would just solidify to everybody. Yep, I knew they were fake confident and they wanted to be fucking small. Look at them. So I even think like, okay, I don't ever want to. I'm not encouraging that stereotype because, bitch, I need you to know that, bitch, I am still that girl. I'm him. You know what I'm saying? And I also work out a lot, to be honest, because you know how I feel about my fashions, and unfortunately, they're not gonna make it for us. So my biggest push to lose weight is so that I can fit in more clothing, so that I can get the exposure I need to get to the table, to make a lot of money, so that I can, when I get there, I can come back and have the funds, and the recognition and the notoriety to say, you know what, I'm making clothes for all no gender clothing. I'm making it in all sizes, small to 5, 6X. But I feel like I carry the torch. I have to get there. And I feel like I sacrifice me and my body, because I want to get down to like under 300 so that I can fit in. If the site has an XL, I want to be able to fit in that. Not for me, but so that I can be respected and get a seat at the table. It's crazy that I have to do like a backwards manipulation type of tactic to get into space. But you know, like you said, the Lizzo impact, you know, we're not getting, we were doing better. Now we're regressing. It's like fat body positivity showed itself that it was just a trend.
Talk about it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But I think that we just have to continue being the representation, and show these brands that we're not going anywhere. And I just keep telling myself, like, continue to do what you guys are doing right now, because you're just making it. When I get there and when I start to create and when the fashion pieces start to come, the gap is going to be there. So continue to do what you're doing, because I need the gap to be ready for me to step into it when it's time. So I'm do what you do.
Listen, come on, you better end the soundbite. I know that's right. Well, listen, Frank, I know you are a busy man. I know you got a lot going on. So before you go, please let everybody know what you got coming up, what people, where people can follow you, any little lemonade you want to drop before you go, and anything you want to share with the audience.
A little lemonade. Let's see. Well, I actually am going to be testing out a podcast. Yeah.
Hey,
we're gonna see what that looks like. I also am in preparation to start writing my first book. Yeah, get up out that bed. I have filed the trademark for Get Up Out That Bed. So you guys are gonna see. I'm building this thing on the back end, and that's why I tell people, like, I'm back here working. working very hard so that I do not have to work super, super hard in the future. But I feel like as someone that has experienced grief at almost every turn, really every 5 years of my life up until I was like 25, of major figures, like my grandparents are no longer here. I've lost 2 of my uncles. I've lost my nephew in high school. So, I feel like when it comes to grief, I'm the expert. And I feel like there are a lot of people in this lifetime that have not experienced any type of major loss. And I look at my colleagues, I look at my friends, and I'm just like, damn, y'all still have y'all parents. That's beautiful. I love that. But at some point, my friends are going to start experiencing loss. And I'm like, it would be a huge disservice of me to have the information that would get people over to the other side of grief and to keep that inside of me. So yeah, book is coming. Get up out that bed.
Okay.
May have a song coming, get up out that bed. May have a ringtone coming, get up out that bed. So yeah, I'm working. Just follow me on FRANK, the letter N, THECITY, FrankNTheCity, no I before the N. And yeah, you'll see what's going on. My goal is to get back on TV. That's my goal. To get back on.
Listen, Frank, you are multifaceted in multimedia. So we love to see you on the socials, on our television screens, and anywhere else you're going to be. Excited to support you. So thank you for being a guest on my first season of Okay,
and what? Thank you for having me.
We saying it like it is, baby.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your vulnerability and you being completely transparent on the show. Listen, if you want to get more details, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Okay, make sure you give us a rating. Let us know what you think about the show. I appreciate you listening, and we will be back again for another episode of Okay and next week.